Welcome to channel American Speakeasy.
Groundhog Day Explained. Like and subscribe to the channel. Groundhog Day is an annual event celebrated on February 2nd. According to folklore, if a groundhog emerges from its burrow and sees its shadow, it predicts 6 more weeks of winter. If it doesn't see its shadow, it predicts an early spring. The most famous groundhog, Punxsutawney Phil, makes his weather prediction at Gobbler's Knob in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. This tradition has become a cultural event with festivities and media coverage. Groundhog, also known as a woodchuck, is a burrowing rodent native to North America. It is famous for its role in the Groundhog Day tradition, where it is believed to predict the weather based on whether it sees its shadow. Example: every year on February 2nd, Punxsutawney Phil, the most famous groundhog, makes his weather prediction. Punxsutawney Phil, famous groundhog predicting weather on Groundhog Day. Example: Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow this year, so we're expecting 6 more weeks of winter. Groundhog Burrow is a complex underground tunnel system created by groundhogs for living, nesting, and hibernation. These burrows provide protection from predators and harsh weather conditions. Example: researchers observed the behavior of groundhogs as they dug new burrows in the spring. Key activities and traditions. Early morning ceremony. The main event takes place at Gobbler's Knob, where Punxsutawney Phil makes his weather prediction. The ceremony starts early in the morning, often before sunrise, and draws a large crowd. Phil's prognostication. The highlight of the celebration is when Punxsutawney Phil emerges from his burrow. According to tradition, if Phil sees his shadow, it means 6 more weeks of winter. If not, it signifies an early spring. Media coverage. The event receives widespread media coverage, with news outlets broadcasting Phil's prediction and providing updates on the celebration. This helps bring the tradition to a larger audience. Local food and craft. Vendors set up stalls offering local food, crafts, and souvenirs. It's an opportunity to enjoy regional specialties and take home memorabilia. Festivities and entertainment. The event includes various forms of entertainment such as live music, dancing, and performances. There are also activities for families and children, making it a fun event for all ages. Groundhog Club. The inner circle of the Punxsutawney, dressed in formal attire and top hats, plays a central role in the event. They are responsible for caring for Phil and organizing the ceremony. Shadow or no shadow. On February 2nd, the groundhog emerges from its burrow to predict the weather. If the groundhog sees its shadow, it means there will be 6 more weeks of winter. If it doesn't see its shadow, it means an early spring. Example: according to tradition, the presence of a shadow or no shadow determines how much longer winter will last. Early spring refers to the arrival of spring weather conditions sooner than usual. If Punxsutawney Phil does not see his shadow, it is believed that an early spring is on the way. Example: Punxsutawney Phil didn't see his shadow this year, so we're hoping for an early spring. Gobbler's Knob is famous location in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, where the annual Groundhog Day celebration takes place. It is the site where the groundhog, Punxsutawney Phil, emerges from his burrow to make his weather prediction. Example: local officials and residents prepare Gobbler's Knob for the annual Groundhog Day event. Prognostication: the act of predicting or foretelling future events based on present indications or signs. Example: Groundhog Day involves the whimsical prognostication of spring's arrival based on a groundhog's behavior. Winter's end refers to the conclusion of the winter season and the transition into spring. This period is often associated with melting snow, warmer temperatures, and the revival of plant life. Example: Groundhog Day enthusiasts eagerly anticipate winter's end based on the groundhog's prediction. Midway point of winter refers to the middle of the winter season. It signifies that February 2nd marks the halfway point between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. It's a symbolic day to assess how much longer winter will last, based on Punxsutawney Phil's prediction. Example: February 2nd is considered the midway point of winter, a time to start thinking about the transition to spring. Superstition: a belief or practice that results from ignorance, fear of the unknown, or trust in magic or chance. Superstitions often involve rituals, symbols, or actions believed to influence future events. Example: the Groundhog Day tradition is rooted in the superstition that a groundhog can predict the weather based on whether it sees its shadow. Weather lore: traditional beliefs and sayings that predict weather based on natural signs, animal behavior, or other folklore. These sayings often stem from observations and are passed down through generations. Example: weather lore has it that if the groundhog sees its shadow on Groundhog Day, there will be 6 more weeks of winter. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications,